there's no shame, by the way, in going back to work. I think there's there was a bad stigma for a long time
For
that
sure.
if you're 65 and still working, or you go back to work, it's because you don't have money, or you're poor or broke. Like that's
For
not
sure.
the case anymore. So if anybody has that thought, you should forget that.
Welcome to Upticks with Jake Falcon, founder and CEO of Falcon Wealth Advisors. In this podcast, we help high net worth individuals overcome financial complexities. We do this by enhancing financial literacy and discussing topics in a language free from industry jargon. Join us as we help explain exactly what having a solid financial plan means, as Jake draws from years of experience in helping hundreds of individuals get financially organized and focused on their goals. We hope you find Upticks educational, entertaining, and shareable. Now, on to the show.
Welcome back to Upticks with Jake and Cory. Cory, welcome back to the show.
Jake, thank you for having me.
Anything new or exciting you want to share with our potential millions of viewers out there, Cory, before we dive into today's headlines?
One thing that's new and exciting, Jake, you and I just recently went through our first owners offsite for Falcon Wealth Advisors and really kind of shaping things for the year ahead in advance of our meeting with our group leaders for our communications and financial planning and investment management. So I feel like this time of year this is a great time to do some of the big picture planning like that. So I enjoyed that, Jake, going through that exercise together and helping to shape things for the future. How about you?
Yeah, I apologize. We did it at my house. Einstein was a little bit of a distraction. My puppy.
I like Einstein. I'm a fan.
But he's a good guy. Yes, I think
he provided a lot of support.
That's right. I think it's important for our clients and our audience to know that while on the surface it appears that you and I are just wealth advisors and we meet with clients, there's actually a lot more going on behind the scenes to build and provide the end client offering that our clients experience. And I'm excited about it. We did a lot of reflecting on 2024 and a lot of planning for 2025. And I'm excited to share that with our clients after we meet with the rest of our group leaders to firm up some of the ideas that you and I have. So the plan is to have, again, continue with our in-person events, continue with Upticks, more education. Ultimately, Cory, clients choose to work with us to enhance their financial literacy and explain exactly what their financial plan means to them. And I'm real excited to continue to double down on that and provide more of that for our clients in 2025. So thank you. Yeah, that was a good one. We did have a listener suggestion, Cory, that I want to read to you, and I want to get your thoughts on it. So thank you for the person that sent this in. Again, if you have any comments, questions, topics that you would like Cory and I to discuss or debate, please feel free to email them simply to luke@falconwealthadvisors.com. And Luke will make sure that your suggestion gets talked about here live on Uptick. So here we go, Cory. This listener sent in, I have a question for Cory and Jake. Why is it when we make withdrawals from our IRA that we're anxious and feel a certain amount of guilt? We've worked hard all our lives and saved along with it being in our plan, in quotes. We still have these feelings. Are we in a small group of people, or do others feel this way? And Cory, as most of our clients know, we literally have hundreds of clients in 35 different states. So you and I and our financial planners have a lot of reps meeting with people. So I think this is a very valid question. So what's your take on it?
First, to answer the question that was asked, I do think that others feel this way. And I don't think that it's a small group of people. Because ultimately, I think the reason that people feel that way, the reason that they feel guilty about taking withdrawals from their retirement accounts is really just because, Jake, my opinion is that a lot of people maybe haven't practiced spending in a way, that people have been focused on the future, working and saving, which is great. But the reality is it's not simple for people to just flip a switch to go from working and saving and accumulating to retired and spending in the decumulation phase, right? For some people, that's a process. So ultimately, I do think it's normal. I don't think it is out of the norm at all. And I've had enough conversations with clients to know that it happens. But I do think that checking in on your plan, understanding where things stand, understanding what you can take out of your accounts without it having a negative impact on your long-term financial plan. I think that's really the key to helping people feel empowered instead of guilty about spending the money that they've worked hard to save. What do you think, Jake?
Yes, and thank you. That all makes a lot of sense to me as well. I think there's two types of people. There's the spenders and there's the savers.
Yeah.
And I think this particular person is a saver, clearly from the statement.
Yeah.
And I think they need to embrace that that's probably never going to change. So they're probably, my point is I haven't seen many spenders turn into savers, and I haven't seen savers turn into spenders, believe it or not.
That's a great point.
So I think this person, and this is normal, and like you said, so I don't know if it's split down the middle, but like you said, I don't think it's a small group. I think our savers always are going to feel guilty about pulling money out. I think they're always going to be a little nervous, no matter how much money they have, right? We've got savers that have multiple millions of dollars who still feel guilty about spending relatively small amounts of money. And I think
that's right.
That has to do with the psychology of money. But my point here is that it's okay, but I would challenge them to go a little bit deeper with themselves and say, why am I worried? So I know this person, if they're talking to themselves, I know I'm a saver and I know I'm always going to be a little bit anxious, but is there something behind that? Let's peel back behind that, because then maybe our team can provide you a little bit more clarity and advice and guidance to help with that psychology. So again, I want to challenge people not to feel like they have to change, but just bring some awareness that like, hey, I'm a saver and I'm always going to be nervous about spending my money. That's just the way it's going to be. But like you said, Cory, maybe they need to meet more often with our financial planners, right? Maybe instead of once or twice a year, they need to meet 3 or 4 times a year. Maybe our financial planners can show them the cash flow that is being generated from their portfolio. And we couple that with Social Security and any other pension income. Maybe that will help, right? This is a weird comment. Maybe they need to go get a job, even if they don't need it, because they feel like they have this sense of control and income. And maybe that will help with the psychology. So there's a lot of things we can do. I think each person is going to be a little bit different. But I want this person to understand that they are not alone and that it's probably a large group of people are like that. And the spenders, on the other hand, they don't have a problem with it, right? So for them, they're not worried about spending their money. And some of them don't even care if they're going to run out. And so I think, again, it's just a different psychology. Neither is right or wrong. Neither is good or bad. It's just a different way of looking at it. So I appreciate it. I think it's a good question. And thank you and hopefully that provided a little bit of insight to what we see with our clients.
That's really good, Jake.
All right.
Let's talk about the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs, Jake.
Yeah, a little fun topic here today. Cory, the season, is it 6-0 now as of the recording this? So the season flying by. I know they play 17 games now. And I've been downplaying this season a little bit because I want them to win 3-0. I want them to three-peat. And I telling Rachel, I'm like, the regular season doesn't matter. Yeah, we want to win games, but I think it was Kelsey or Mahomes. One of them said that you really need to be peaking as you get into the playoffs. You don't really want to be playing your best football
right now
in October. You want to be playing your best football in January, in February, right? So I've been downplaying it, believe it or not, and they keep winning, which is awesome. So I'm a little nervous for the Chiefs because of the wide receiver injuries that we've had. They are finding a way to win. I'm a little nervous because we run the ball so much, and I don't think that'll hold up. I think teams are going to learn to stop that. And so it's been an entertaining season. I'm excited for them, and I hope they three-peat. What do you got, Cory?
I have, that's all good. I think it's good analysis, Jake. My view on it is probably more simple in that at this point, I don't count out Patrick Mahomes. I think he's proven himself enough. I think he's the one himself, right, who said that the Chiefs are never underdogs. I think that was his quote, something to that effect. And he's shown that they have found a way to win games that are very, very close, or games that people might not have thought that they could win. So I ultimately have a lot of confidence in that. But I also think if they get beat by a better team, they get beat by a better team. It happens, right? It's part of the game, absolutely. And getting to 3 Super Bowls and winning 3 in a row, so difficult to do. It'd be amazing if it happens, but it's incredibly hard to do. So it's
you seem a little like a hater there. You seem a little like a hater there, Cory.
No. You think I'm a hater on the Chiefs?
Well, you're just saying that they're not going to be able to do it. I think they're going to be
No,
able
I'm
to
saying
do it.
I just said that I won't count out Patrick Mahomes, and I do not
I hear
question what
you.
he's capable
All
of.
right. Fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough. We got one more fun
Let's move
topic
past
here.
the Chiefs. Yeah, so let's talk about fees, right? That's more fun, Jake. So know your fees and know all of your fees. What have you got?
Yes, I've had a lot of fun meetings with new clients lately,
Mm-hmm.
Cory. And the sad reality, and this is not their fault, this is the industry's problem, is a lot of people don't even know what fees they're paying. And I don't know what other industry other than finance has gotten away with hiding the fees as blatantly as they have. Because I know what my electric bill is. I know what, I pay my dentist or whatever. I know what I pay stuff. Like, we know when money is leaving my pocket, Cory, I know
where it's
how
going.
much and I know what it's for. And so you have to be if you're working with an advisor that is using products, so literally you don't own stocks and bonds or options, you've got to ask that advisor, what fees are the products charging me? And what does that equate to on a dollar basis, monthly, quarterly, and annually? And that advisor should be able to spell that out for you. And if they can't, it's a real problem. It's a real problem in our industry. And so I just want our audience that are not clients, because I know we've got hundreds, if not now over 1,000 typically a week watching this. And so they're probably not all clients, Cory, is that if you're working with an advisor who is using products, you need to get that product fee broken out for you. And you need to know the advisor fee, because those two typically need to be added together. If you're doing this alone and you're using products, you should know what those product fees are and add them up and equate it to a dollar amount. With our clients, we don't use products, or we typically try to avoid them. If they got a 401k and that's all they have, then so be it. But if they don't have the 401k and they're investing directly with our company, then we will directly buy stocks and bonds, and they're paying us the advisory cost, not a product fee. And so again, I just wanted to bring some light to that. I think it's a real problem in the industry, Cory. I don't think we can talk about it enough. And so again, I just wanted to bring it up in today's episode just to remind people.
Let me ask you real quick, because you did start that off, Jake, by talking about how you've had some fun meetings with new clients. I'm curious, is this just something that comes up in those conversations because you found that people don't know what it is that they're paying?
Yes, I mean, exactly.
Is that how it's come up?
They're usually coming to me because the advisor is giving them poor service or poor performance, or they're not doing proper planning. There's a myriad of reasons. And then we'll look under the hood and say, okay, thank you for sharing all that. I get it. Your advisor is letting you down. Do you know how much you're paying? And most people don't. So then my job is to educate them and say, okay, you don't know what you're paying. Let me give you some examples. I'm going to show you, based on your portfolio and the holdings you have, what they're charging you, so that you know. Because the advisor is not telling you, which just bothers me. The advisor should, if you're going to use products and you're an advisor, just tell your client what they're paying. Why are you hiding behind it? Like we tell our clients, like, it's on our website what we charge. It's in every review what we charge. It's on the statement what we charge. We don't hide behind that. Of course, I got to get paid for what I do. I'm not doing this. Isn't a charity.
Right.
Even charities need to make money to keep going, right? Like, but again, so I don't hide behind the cost. I think other advisors do. I don't know why. I don't know why they hide behind the cost. So, anyways, it bothers me a little bit. So,
yeah, it bothers me too. And I could speculate a million different reasons why, but I agree. I think at the end of the day, being an informed and educated consumer, right, is really what you're talking about. Whether it's financial advice or healthcare or a new vehicle or anything else.
That's right. All right, Cory, before we take it away, again, I want to thank our audience. Our subscriber count continues to grow on YouTube. We're over, what are we at? Like 1,700 subscribers.
Exciting.
We typically get 1,000 views. We also have a podcast on Apple, iTunes, and Spotify. If you don't want to stare at your phone or your TV for our show, you can listen to it while you're driving or working out or cooking. And so thank you for everyone. Again, the whole point of Upticks is to enhance financial literacy. So please like and share our content. Give it a 5-star review, and a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. Cory, take us away here.
Play ball. All right. Our first headline, Jake: retirement might include a side hustle. 5 tips on how to find a good one from the Money Pros.
Yes. So I think, and I alluded to this a little bit already, Cory, about maybe getting a job. I think a side hustle is awesome right now for people in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s, because not only from the financial aspect, but from the emotional and social aspect. And so this article was okay, but I just wanted to bring it up. I do want to share the 5 tips here. So Number one, do some pre-planning. So the idea is that you want to think about this before you retire, Cory, and it's okay if you're already retired and you're toying around with it, but the idea is to do some pre-planning. Number two is go through the nitty-gritty. Like, why are you working? Do you need health benefits? Do you need a 401k? Do you need to be able to put into a Roth? Like, why are you working from a financial aspect? And go into the nitty-gritty of what the job is going to offer you. Thought that was good. Pick a job you'll enjoy. That's obvious, I hope. I don't know why anyone would choose to retire, and then go work somewhere they don't want to work. Can you think of anyone that's done that?
No, not someone who's chosen to retire and then chosen to go work at a job they didn't want.
Right.
No,
So let's make sure you like it. And it may be like, again, I'm a golfer, right? Everybody knows I'm a golfer, but I don't know. Maybe I would, but I don't know if I'd want to work at a golf course in retirement, right? Maybe I want to go work at a library or whatever. Like, I don't know, at a restaurant. I don't know. But so it doesn't necessarily need to be where your hobby or your passion is, because I also think you can overdo it. Like, if I like to play, like I know this from personal experience in college. Like, I worked at a golf course in college, but I didn't get to play much golf because I didn't want to go to school, and then go spend my free time where I was working, if that makes sense.
It does.
Then, again, I was much younger. Maybe it'll be different because I was more mature in college, but maybe as I mature and I'm okay being around something that I also have a passion for. But my point is, do some exploring with that. You don't necessarily need to do the same thing that you like doing for free time. You don't need to make that money off of that. Number four, being mindful of potential impacts to Social Security and taxes, right? So if you make too much and you're drawing Social Security before your full retirement age, you could do some damage there, and just be cognizant of your tax situation, and then adjust as necessary. And my point here is, it's okay to quit a job. It's okay to work somewhere 2 days and quit. It's okay. Like, I don't necessarily agree with this. Like, no one likes a quitter, right? I think if you're quitting because something's challenging and it's tied to a goal, that's one thing. But I think if you're quitting just because you don't like it, like I was a cook. Did you know that, Cory? For 1 day in college, 1 day.
I was a cook for a day too, Jake. I don't know if we've ever talked about that. 1 day also. How funny.
Really?
I was in high school.
So I was in college. I thought I wanted to be a bartender. So I applied at this like bar and grill.
Yeah.
And they put me in the kitchen.
That's right.
They didn't put me behind the bar. They put me in the kitchen. And I hated it. I wasn't good at it. I didn't know what I was doing. There was another guy, like he was a nice guy. He was kind of bossing me around. Then at the end of the night, I guess it's your rite of passage in the industry. They made me clean the whole place while they sat around. And I was like, I ain't doing this.
I don't know if this is my side hustle.
Tell me about your experience. Where'd you cook?
Mine, yeah, I got a job. So I had a lot of jobs. I started working at a young age. Actually, Jake, at a golf course was my first job as a caddy.
Nice.
But I worked a lot of seasonal jobs, did things through the years. And there was 1 year where I got Jake a job. I think I was maybe 16 at Burger King. All right. Nice. I went to training for 1 day. And after that day of training, I was offered another job at another place that I interviewed at. It was at Best Buy. It was a seasonal opportunity at Best Buy, which I was real excited about as a 16-year-old, get that discount, buy the Xbox, whatever else. So I let the manager at Burger King know, actually, to your point about quitting after 1 day. I basically went to training, which I never got paid for. I don't think I ever got in the system to get properly compensated. But it's funny that the manager told me, he's like, I don't blame you. That's what he told me. When I said I'm going to go work at Best Buy.
So maybe this is a good exercise. So maybe for our retired clients that are watching this or listening to this, maybe they should go back to their high school and college jobs and see if they had anything they really liked. I worked at a batting cage. I worked at golf courses. So again, you and I
worked at a nursery, Home Depot.
I worked at Napa Auto Parts.
Right.
We've done a lot, both of us. And we're younger guys compared to our clients. I bet a lot of our clients have had a lot of different jobs. And so Go back to those. Maybe you liked something. Maybe figure out what you like and what you didn't like. And maybe that'll bring back some youthfulness. So that's good. I thought it was a good article just to share that. I think some of it was obvious. But again, I just want people to know that there's no shame, by the way, in going back to work. I think there's there was a bad stigma for a long time.
For sure.
If you're 65 and still working, or you go back to work, it's because you don't have money, or you're poor or broke. Like that's not,
for sure.
That's not the case anymore. So if anybody has that thought, you should forget that, because you'd be surprised how many people are working that have plenty of money to retire, and they're working for the social. They're working for a lot of different reasons than the money. The money's a nice perk, but I don't want people to feel shame and going back to work. It should be for fun and social and healthy, and it's good.
And I do think that, real quick, Jake, the flip side of that is, if you are in a situation where going back to work in retirement will be helpful to your financial plan, if that's the case also, I think that choosing to not go back to work because of shame involved, but also not feeling confident or comfortable in your situation, doesn't make a lot of sense either.
Right.
Like, if there's a step you can take, because your point is absolutely true. There's all kinds of people that work until all kinds of ages now. It's definitely different.
Right. Good. All right, good. Let's go on to the next one here, Cory. Investors spend a lot of time thinking about risk, but they do it all wrong.
Yes. So this is a little more abstract, I'll say, Jake, but I'm just going to read through the notes that I took from this article. So
Okay.
In quotes here, what's your risk tolerance? Misses the point, according to this article, because we are people, Jake, before we're investors, and our lives extend beyond investments to careers, social life, and more, each with its own risk. So this is pretty interesting here. People who have a high tolerance for investment risk don't necessarily have a high tolerance for career risk, such as switching jobs or changing careers. Nor does that mean that they have a high tolerance for social risks.
Hold on.
So,
Hold
go
on.
ahead.
I want to check in on this. Is this a fact? I think it's very interesting. So people say they want to take a lot of risk in their investments. They also don't want to lose their job or jump around. I think that's very fascinating.
And I think, absolutely. And I think the point of this too, though, Jake, is saying that just labeling all of that as risk tolerance is a little bit too 30,000 foot view. Like, there's more than just like risk tolerance in our world. I think oftentimes implies investment risk tolerance. The point here is there's more to it than just that.
All right. Good. Keep going.
They said by focusing solely on investment risk, I should say, and financial returns, people often misunderstand the best path to accumulating wealth and emotional satisfaction. Many people, for instance, think the best way to increase wealth is by tolerating more investment risk, perhaps picking individual stocks with spectacular returns, is what this article called out. In truth, wealthy people gain their wealth mostly by tolerating career and social risks that pay great returns in turning them into successful physicians or attorneys or owners of business, large and small. So I thought this was really interesting around investment risk, social risk, career risk, and how it can look different for different people, and how we might not think about it properly as investors.
Interesting. So it's saying that if somebody wants to get wealthy, they should be willing to quit their job?
They're saying if someone wants to be wealthy, they have, depending upon what they're going to do, they have to understand the career risk that could be involved, versus the same way that you might understand investment risk. It's like let's say going to be a neurosurgeon, Jake, for example, for the purpose of this conversation, that there's a high level of career risk involved between going to school, going to medical school, residency, and then ultimately operating. That person might be a really conservative investor, right? They might not want to take much risk at all with their investments because they're taking more risk in their career day to day. But aligning those two and understanding how you feel in each place is the key, this article was saying, to both, financial and emotional satisfaction.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful. I mean, I talked about this before, is that like it all matters, right? So how much you make matters. So you're right. I think people chase investment returns when it's like, why don't you try to get better at your career? What a better way to have more money than to earn more money,
right?
Or get a
great alternative investment is more hours worked, right? I mean,
yeah. What's that?
I said a great alternative investment is more hours worked, right? To your point,
exactly. Yeah, don't go chasing the hot stock, and that's the deal. It's shortcuts. I have never been one for shortcuts, believe it or not, Cory. I can't think of maybe. Well, here we go. Younger years, maybe in school, if I could read the book quicker or read a summary. But that was bad. That was an adolescent decision. I think when I care about something, I don't try to take a shortcut at all. I'm very thorough with what I'm doing, like my career, my house. If I'm working on my house, like I don't take a shortcut.
Game.
What?
Your golf game.
My golf game. There's no shortcuts in golf. I'm not taking any shortcuts. My relationship with my wife, like I care about her. I listen to her.
Your
and
health.
work on it. There's no shortcut. So again, you want to take something seriously. Let's take calculated risk on things that matter. And maybe that is getting a job promotion, putting more effort into work. If you can be a more valuable employee, you're gonna get paid more. Go ahead.
That's right. Let me read just a real quick the ending to this, because I do think this is good, Jake. This says, this is from the article. In the end, the main takeaway, this is from a professor who's in his 70s that wrote this. He said, the main takeaway, which has guided my own life and which I try to impart to students, is that the combination of risks and potential returns in our life portfolios are similar to their combinations in our investment portfolios. We do well when we have a high tolerance for career and social risks and a lower tolerance for investment risk. Some returns of individual investments in our portfolios, whether investment or life returns, are likely to be exhilarating, while others are likely to be disappointing. But it is the returns of the overall portfolios, whether investments or life, that ultimately really matter.
That's good. Profound, Cory.
Very profound in the risk there. So, okay, ready to move on?
I think we have time. Let's do one more, Cory. We have time for one more.
Perfect. All right, Jake, traveling in retirement is great. Being at home is harder.
Yeah, this is from an article written by this retired couple in the Wall Street Journal. It's kind of cool. They're kind of following them along, and they are writing articles in retirement. So the husband has been finding it difficult to sit still at home and is already planning his next trips, right? So this couple's traveled a ton. They decided, like, hey, let's go back to our house. Let's just kind of chill out for a little bit. We've been go. Let's just not do anything. But he's already getting restless. They've been gone from their home, and they live in San Francisco half of the time, and they've been retired for about which is about 2 years. They've been retired for about 2 years, and I guess so. You could say, Cory, they've been on the road a year and they've been at home a year. That's pretty go if you think about it. Traveling a whole year out of 2 years is a lot.
That's a lot,
I think. So the wife, she is enjoying reconnecting with friends, and she set up her schedule nicely, in my opinion. What she did, Cory, which I don't know if I've heard of this. She makes herself a task list and does everything she needs to do in the mornings, and then everything she wants to do in the afternoons, which I thought was pretty cool. So she might have to pay a bill, run an errand, go to a doctor, whatever. She gets all that done in the morning. In the afternoon, maybe she goes to happy hour or
book club,
goes to
or plays
out
bridge
with
or
her
whatever.
friends, plays backgammon, whatever. I don't know what she does, right? I don't know that she might not even drink. For all I know. But like, I'm just saying that's kind of how she split up her day. Ultimately, though, they're going to continue to travel. But I think the reason I share this article, Cory, is I think it's just great awareness to bring to retirement, and how much travel can you really do? And should you just stay home every day? I want to talk to you about that here in a moment, because I want to tell you my answer. My answer would be to balance the two. And Rachel and I, again, we're not anywhere near retirement, but we laugh about how much I don't like traveling, Cory. If I could stay home every day, I would. Every day. I would come to work and I'd go home. And I'm completely happy with that. But the funny thing is, Cory, I travel more than she does. I travel more than my traveling wife likes to do. Crazy. I don't like to do it, but I do it. In fact, I've already booked a trip, Cory, for 2025 for a golf trip in Texas that I just told her about here recently. Of course, she looked at me funny, like, what?
I was hoping it was going to be Upticks that would be the reveal of that trip, Jake. That's how
I told her about it.
You told her, that's good.
Told her. So my question to you is, how much should you, or maybe this is hard for you and I to answer. I know I answered it, but how much should somebody travel and how much should they stay home in retirement? Or what have you seen? Maybe you could share with our audience some successful stories of people that are retired and doing this successfully.
Okay, that's good. I think that my experience, Jake, from seeing people that have done this well, or have approached it well in retirement, I feel like part of it is knowing how long you want to be gone. I think that's part of it. Like, don't plan a month-long trip if neither of you want to be gone for a month. I think that's part of it. And I think talking about that, I've seen some clients that'll take, literally 4 or 5 week-long trips throughout the year. Some people that will take a lot of long weekend trips. Some people that don't travel very much at all. So again, it is hard to say, because I don't think there is a perfect answer. Everybody's going to be a bit different. But I do think checking in on it and understanding what's important to you, and then understanding, of course, how it fits into your financial plan is important. But it really is going to be pretty individualistic. I think what I've seen work well for people, though, is at least when, the two partners, if there's two partners or an individual who's retired, is at least clear about what they do and don't enjoy doing. Like, if they don't want to go take an RV across the country, don't buy an RV before you do that.
Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, don't buy the RV. But like, how do they know what they like or don't like?
That's good too. Trial and error. Actually, that's good. You just prompted, Jake. That brought up a great example in my mind of a client I'm thinking about that switched in their role with their company they'd been with for 30 years to remote work several years, 4 or 5 years ago, actually to the point, Jake, where this client, they were able to move away from Kansas City to a different part of the country that they thought they might want to retire to. So they actually moved there before they retired, signed a lease, lived there for a year, tried it out, learned, and decided, you know what, we're going to come back here. And now they're going to try the next place, which I think is that's a big commitment, to signing literally a lease, a year-long lease to live somewhere else to do that. But I do think that is one way to get out ahead of that lost feeling that some people might have in retirement is, I think they're doing a great job of trying that out now.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And now, again, your relationship with your spouse needs to be strong. But like, if you have a spouse that wants to go to Europe and the other spouse doesn't want to go to Europe, I don't think that needs to be a conflict. I think then let the spouse go to Europe and say, you know what, go with one of your best friends or a family member.
My parents did that, Jake. My mom went to Italy a couple of years ago. My dad did not. And she went with a group of people from church.
Right. And I'm sure it was fine, right?
My dad stayed home and watched the dog. He was happy.
Exactly. So that's okay. Now this is a little sappy. I don't like traveling without Rachel. Like, the only trips I really do without Rachel are golf trips. She ain't going to play golf anyway, so it doesn't matter as much. But otherwise, like, I don't know if I would I don't know if I would go to Europe without her. I don't know if I could do that. But to more power to you. Like, if I really had a desire to go to Germany and my wife had zero desire and you wanted to go to Germany with me, I'd go, right? So my point is, you can be creative. But again, you need to talk. Communication is what it ultimately comes down to. Talk to your spouse, or if you're single, talk to your friends or family and what you want to do and plan it out. And again, I just want people to enjoy their retirement and see the things they want to see and experience the things they want to experience. And like you said, Cory, you're really not going to know unless you try it out. You got to try it out.
That's right. I have one more. I know we're bumping up against the clock, Jake. I just want to share this. So to get anybody watching or listening to this thinking, one other example actually of clients, Jake, that I work with that we began working with several years ago. We're selling their business, sold their home in California, and they bought an RV. And they've been traveling the country ever since for several years now. And they've been going actually to different places where support and help has been needed, whether it's mission work, whether it's rebuilding after a disaster, whatever it might be. Literally just going around the country and going to different places where they can be of service and of support. And I think that's the coolest thing because they knew what they wanted to do. They just needed some help figuring out how to make it all happen. And they've been doing it now for a few years. And that's something pretty unique that not a lot of people have the opportunity to do or ultimately take the leap to do.
Right. Good. That's a place to wrap up. And again, our team is qualified. So if you need help crunching the numbers or sharing some of these experiences, please lean on your friends at Falcon Wealth Advisors. Just simply email service@falconwealthadvisors.com, and we'll make sure one of our financial planners is set up to meet with you to go over what your goals and dreams are as far as travel and retirement. All right. Well, thank you again, Cory, for joining me. And thank you all, as always, for tuning in. We hope you have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Upticks. Click the subscribe button to be notified when new episodes become available. Also, be sure to visit our website, falconwealthadvisors.com, and click the Contact Us button if you'd like to meet with Jake and his team.